Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ohio Gripe. It's been a long time since we've had an episode, but some restructuring, making sure things are going well, making sure we have people that show up. And with that being said, welcome, Patrick.
Howdy, everybody. Here I am. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but we're going to find out together.
I just slam my hands. Everything moved.
Stop
Stop
beating on stuff.
Plastic table. Anyways.
Mark likes to play the drums on everything. Yeah. He smacks himself in the chest at work and everything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's not when I'm always mad. Wow, that was really hard for me to say.
Yeah, English is tough. We've been through this.
Tell you what. So, now that you're going to be here for a little bit, maybe, keep saying maybe.
Maybe. Well, I think maybe we'll probably turn into a probably. Like I said, we have to see if everything works out. And, I mean, time-wise, I think I'm good. But we just have to see if we flow together well. Sometimes people just don't flow well.
Yeah. Oil and water.
And I gotta be honest, you're not really my type.
That's all right. I'm nobody's type.
Well, me either. But sometimes you get lucky and you hook one in the lip like a fish and reel it in.
Wow. What a ladies' killer you are. So.
I've killed no ladies. Not recently, anyway.
Oh, shit.
It's been a while since I've had my last kill. Thank you very much.
You ever wanted to look into someone's closet, see what the skeletons are there? Or are you one of those I don't want to know?
It depends on what skeletons we're looking for.
Oh, I didn't
like
know
some things. Like, are you talking relationship wise or friendship wise?
I'm talking just skeletons.
Relationship
dead
wise, I would say that yes and no, because there are some things you don't want to know, and there are some things that you do kind of want to know. Friendship wise, shit, tell me everything. I don't care.
Right.
Pardon my French, guys. I swear a lot.
So do I.
But I don't like in a relationship sexual things. Do you want to know what they like and how they like it and all that kind of stuff? Sure. But do you want to know who they've been with and how many? Probably not.
Yeah, that's just bad information as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so you need a little bit of both, I think, in that type of situation. But you and I are friends. I could care less, that you bagged 155 girls when you were in college.
Don't I wish?
It's cool.
First off, don't I wish I went to college?
Oh.
And secondly, don't I wish I knew 150 women?
You don't know 150
No,
women?
I don't think I even know 150 women.
Well, if this all goes well, maybe you'll have 155 women that watch this, and then you will.
Yeah, but
that would be more
careful.
them knowing you,
Right? Yeah.
than you knowing them, I guess.
I no longer need to worry about that.
Well, listen, you found your girl. You were like, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
And you went to the jewelry store, and you said, look, chick, I like you, and I want you to be around forever. Have this ring. And she said, sounds good to me. Let's do it.
Actually, want to know a funny story?
Let's hear a funny story.
So the wife and I met in 2001. Worked together a couple years. Started dating. Took me forever to realize she was ever into me, because I'm just not that smart. So
I think men in general have that
issue.
issue.
So she find a friend of ours. Basically, he's like, if you don't go on a date with this girl, I can't remember what he said. He threatened me somehow. And
if
I'm
you
like,
don't do it, I will?
Yeah, and I'm like, I didn't even know she was into me like that. I thought we were just friends. Anyways, but I'm an idiot. So we started dating, and then I moved in with her.
So you moved in with her, not her with you.
Right. Well,
Is that the norm, do you think, in the dating scene?
No, it isn't. Nothing we did was normal. We dated for 10 years before we got married.
I would say that's probably not normal.
Right.
I would say most people are, 2-3 years before they decide to get married? Something like that?
I don't know if it was full 10 years. No, because obviously not. If we met in 2001 and we got married in 2010. So it was probably maybe 5-6 years we lived together.
Okay. So now, we were discussing before the podcast, I don't know if you guys knew that, but we talked before we do this, that your daughter went away to college a few years ago. So was that your daughter, or was that her daughter?
Stepdaughter.
So it's your stepdaughter, not
Right.
her stepdaughter. Okay. So she was from a different woman that you were with. Gotcha. Okay. I wasn't sure if you were the dad or the stepdad.
I'm the stepdad.
You're the stepdad. Okay. I'm kind of in that situation now a little bit. Not that they need stepdads because they're older, but the woman I'm dating has
I think everybody
children.
needs a stepdad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe not a stepdad, but I think everybody needs a dad.
I don't know. I think the youngest one, who is still not young, I think she's in her mid-20s, but she lives at home, and we get along. We bust her mom's chops together just to have fun. And I don't know. You met her once. You know that I give her relentless crap. Her nickname is Toots, for crying out loud.
Her nickname is what?
Toots.
Toots.
You know?
I thought you said tooth.
No, toots.
I'm like, that's a little harsh.
No. Like the first time we spent the night together, she farted in her sleep, and she's been toots ever since.
Yeah, I know what that's like. Not
that I don't fart in my sleep,
right,
but she just didn't think to nickname me Toots, so, I got there before she did.
I know what that's like because I'm usually the one that blasts ass while I'm sleeping.
See, and that's, I don't know. Like,
have you ever woke yourself up farting?
No, but the dog has done that.
Yeah. Yeah, dog farts can change you.
But, the dog is no longer around. That was my dog from back in the day. But he was a big dog. He was 210 pounds and a Mastiff, and he farted really loud.
Wow. My dogs are nonstop, but they're not noisy. They're silent but deadly. Each one of them.
Well, both of your dogs are maybe the size of my dog's head that I had. Maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But anyway, so we were living together, and I found this ring, and I'm like, I want to buy this. It wasn't a wedding ring.
Okay.
It was just a pretty ring for Christmas.
Okay.
And I remember giving it to her because at that time we were like, we don't need to get married. She just got out of a marriage.
Right.
I wasn't looking to get like tied down or anything. And actually, my biggest thing was just the whole state part of it, the paying the tax. And,
exactly. I had that conversation with her just the other night. We were talking about marriage, and I was like, look, it used to be when you got married for you and your family and your friends, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's just for a way for the government to get their hooks into you.
Yeah. And I'm like, we could file separately in taxes. It just didn't make much sense to get married. So when I gave her the ring that she now wears as a wedding ring, it had a note saying, "This is not a wedding ring."
I am not asking you to marry me.
I think it was like a year or 2 years later that I'm like, "You want to get married?" I said, "I already bought you a ring."
And she's like, "But that's not that ring. You have to buy me another one."
No, she actually embraced it because it was tanzanite, and we found out that tanzanite is already mined out.
Oh.
Like, the only way you can get tanzanite now is to, sorry, I guess I have to adjust my mic, is to make it in a lab.
Oh.
So she embraced it, and she loves it, and blah, blah, blah.
Is it worth any money?
I'm sure it's worth some, but I don't think it's...
So it's not worth us building a lab to make it?
No.
Because I'm all about money.
Yeah, I know.
But
like no, I mean, it's worth something because it's natural, but it's not worth what you think.
Well, that's no good.
And since then, she wore it for... We've been married for 13 years. She probably wore it for 7-8 years, and then she noticed it was getting worn down, so she bought just a wedding ring for herself to wear because she didn't want to destroy the one that I got her. And I'm not even wearing the one she bought me. The one I grew out of it, my actual wedding ring. This is just a substitute wedding ring.
So your hand is too big or the ring is too big?
I think I'm swollen.
Well, that happens as we get older.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
If y'all couldn't tell, we're getting old.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's just a water thing or if my hands just got bigger, but I figure I have time to figure that out. And she bought me this one. This is just a basic, nothing fancy ring.
See, I got one of those too, but it's not I am not married. But this is I don't know. It's just got a little spinny thing in it.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, I don't know. I just wear it.
Mm-hmm. I like wearing rings, but my fingers swell.
See, I wear it because, again, you wouldn't know this at home, but where we work, we do a lot of waiting to get things to load into trucks. So as you're standing there waiting, and you're not allowed to have your phone, you're not allowed to have your girlfriend, you're not allowed to have anything there. You gotta just stand there and look like an idiot.
I can't have my Swedish Grip Suckmaster 3000.
No, and there's no cigarette lighter to plug it into on the forklift. Anyway.
Right. Well, yeah, I always wondered what voltage those are. If they're 12 volts, we're good.
No, I think they're 24.
Oh, that's not bad, though.
I think. I'm not going to swear to that, but I'm pretty sure because they are Crown. And I'm pretty sure from way back in the day, at the last place I'd worked that had Crown, they were 24 volts.
See, I was thinking it was some weird, because they're so powerful and the batteries are so huge, I was thinking it was some weird, like, 96 volt or some weird shit.
Now, see, this is the first place I've worked that have the lithium batteries like that.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Everywhere else I've worked, you had to actually know how to operate the machine to switch the battery out because they would go dead
in an hour.
Well, 6 or 7 hours usually.
Yeah.
They went dead where I worked the first time because it was in a freezer and they just didn't hold up as well in the negative 20 degrees of the freezer.
No, Gojo, you'd be lucky to get 2 hours out of them.
Oh, so they had old ones.
Dude, they just would not repair them.
See, and there you go. Another piece of advice for you kids at home: don't work in a freezer.
Well, Gojo wasn't a freezer.
Oh,
it was just neglected.
Your other host that used to be here, he used to work at the same place I did, and he would probably give the same advice. Do not work in a freezer.
Yeah, it's rough. For a minute, I was a temp at Fresh Mart in the bacon department.
Oh, so were you in the cooler, or were you in
Yes.
where they actually cooked the bacon?
No, I was in the cooler.
In the cooler.
And at the end of the day, not the end of the day, but at the end of the day, I remember calling up the temp service saying, I can't do this. I said, my nose is running all over this bacon.
See, now, I was lucky because where I worked in the freezer for a little while, picking, and then I moved to what they call the tunnel, which is where it was at. They had a frozen food manufacturer, and then we were their shipping company, and we were a different company, so they just paid us to do their shipping. So the building that they built buttered up to theirs, and they cut a hole in the wall and put a conveyor, so as soon as they made the food and stacked it and palletized it, it just came through the hole. And then it was on our side of the building, and it was ours, and then we would inventory it, take it out, put it in the freezer. So when you worked that job, the tunnel was, I don't know, about 5 degrees, I think, and then the freezer was negative 20, and you were in there all day, and that was bad.
Nothing worse than a cold hole with a tunnel.
Yeah, and then I got lucky enough that I was there long enough. I started loading and unloading, and it was 32 degrees on the dock, and I was like, this is the life. So that's pretty sad when you're happy to be in 32 degrees.
Yes. You belong in Ohio.
Well, I do not belong in Ohio because now I don't mind the cold so much, but snow, I think they should outlaw that shit.
I hate it.
Yeah. The cold, I can, like, unless it's like cold enough that when I'm out deer hunting and I'm sitting in a stand and it's 3 degrees and the wind's blowing 35 miles an hour and I'm like, the cold doesn't bother me. But other than, I mean, I'm usually pretty cool with that. Just the snow. I hate trudging through the snow. I hate shoveling snow. I hate when you walk out to go to work and you take a wrong step and now your shoes full of snow.
Or slush.
Or whatever, man. Forget it. It's just dumb.
Water that looks like snow, but it's still water.
And it's even worse for guys like you and me because where we work now, it's climate controlled because everything's in boxes and they don't want the boxes to get...
So you freeze to death in the summer and then you freeze in the summer and you boil in the winter.
But in the wintertime, it sucks because you're going to wear shorts and stuff to work because it's hot in there.
Yeah.
But then when you walk outside, somebody drives by and shoots ice cold water all over you like a moron.
You need shants.
Shants? Are you the one? Oh, remember they had them in the 80s. You just
unzip
unzip them? Yeah, there we go. That's what we should get some of those.
That would be good. You just wear pants to work. When you get to work, we
would look like morons, but...
Who cares?
I mean...
You're at work.
We kind of are morons, so...
That's another thing you should listen to us. Another reason why you should listen to us. We're blue collar. We work. We have day jobs.
I thought you were going to say we're both morons.
That is one of the reasons why you should listen to us. And if you want evidence of that, go back a couple of years when I was doing Thanksgiving drinks. I went through a list of drinks you have at Thanksgiving. It was awful because all those words are foreign words. All those alcohols.
Oh. Well, see,
I know Jägermeister because I drank so much of it, but there's so many I have never... You should have heard me trying to go through this list. It sounded like I was... Dude, I sound like I was mid-stroke every single one of them.
Pronounce Zambuca.
Zambuca?
Yeah. Have you ever drank Zambuca?
No.
Okay, don't. It's disgusting.
Okay.
Don't do that. There's some other ones. There's one that's called Tawaka.
Isn't it like a particular part of an alligator?
I don't know, but there's a liqueur called Tawaka. I can't remember what flavor it is. We could Google it. But anyway.
I think I'm thinking of the cloaca.
But it's very popular among ladies in the circles that I run with.
Oh, all right.
I'll explain later.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know why. It's become one of the things that, I shouldn't say it's popular, but it's one of the things that's always joked about. Oh, I'm going to get out the Tawaka.
Do you play drinking games?
Sometimes we play drinking games, and sometimes we just drink. Like we had a little thing the other day. I don't know how much I can get into all this. But anyway, there was a group of us that we were all out, and then we went back to one of the people's homes. And there was probably 6 or 8 couples or whatever. And we started playing high-low. Have you ever played high-low?
No.
Okay, so high-low is pretty simple. You pick somebody to be the dealer. You get a deck of cards. Flip one over. And the next person has to guess if the next card is going to be high or low.
Oh.
If they're wrong...
They have to remove something.
Or drink.
Okay.
So if you suck or have really bad luck and always get 5s or whatever, 6, 7, if you're one of them people, you're either going to be naked or drunk.
Oh, or
and
both.
Sometimes both, yes. But then as you go through, if you tie with somebody, if you say it's going to be a 5 and it's another 5, now you got to do best of 5. And if you win the best of 5, you can add something. So say if you lose and you have to drink, and I say there has to be a little man on your drink, and you forget to take the little man off your drink before you drink and put him back, now you got to go again.
Wow. You have to drink again because you didn't have a little man on
Well, you got to
drink.
take him off because you don't want to swallow your little man. He's your buddy. And if you leave him on the table, then he's going to run away, and you don't have your little man anymore.
I've heard of that. That's like specific conditions.
Well, listen.
Is that an STD?
There's a lot of people out there that say the little man doesn't exist, but I am here to tell you, I think he does.
I got one.
I found him once. Been searching for him again ever since. You know what I'm saying?
That would have been really funny if you were born fat.
Well, yeah.
Like if you were never skinny. Because I found him once.
I found him once.
But when I was a kid, I knew he was there the whole time.
Right. I know.
Now is when I have to go searching.
I know he exists, but Oh, Jesus.
So what kind of podcast do you listen to?
Well, I will tell you one of the ones that I listen to, if I don't know if we're getting in trouble for naming names, but it's a few guys here from where we live.
Maslin?
No, they actually live in Medina.
So you lied to me.
Well, no, they live in Ohio.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Northeast Ohio, specifically.
Okay.
I don't even know, is Medina still considered Northeast Ohio?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're almost central.
Yeah, it's almost in the center,
They're
but...
pretty close to getting central. But anyway, they have a podcast called Necronomipod.
Ew.
They do a lot of serial killer, paranormal, alien kind of things. But they're 3 guys that are neighbors, or they were when they started. I don't know if they actually still all live together in the same area, because I think one of them moved. But they'll write an outline about a particular topic. So they did, the first one I listened to was the West Memphis 3.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
No.
Well, you should look it up. It's a very interesting story. I will say, if anybody out there or you want to listen or read about it, you're going to want to go into it with a little bit of a blockage, because it is a disgusting story.
Nice.
That happened to 3 teenagers in West Memphis. There was 3 little kids that were murdered, and it was
the teenagers were murdered? Or...
No, the little kids. I think they were 6, 7, 8 years. They were young.
Yeah.
Anyway, they lived in the same neighborhood somewhat. I don't know if they were actually in the same, general vicinity. And these 3 little boys got murdered, and it was back in the early 90s when the satanic panic was going on. And these were 3 teenagers that were into Metallica and heavy metal music and yada, yada, yada. Well, they were convicted of killing these 3 kids.
Oh, wait, I think I know about that. They made a movie about those kids.
They've made a couple.
Yeah.
So
Paradise Lost.
Yes. And then they were convicted. They went to prison.
Yeah,
they basically proved that it wasn't them. And the state said, look, we're not going to let you out of prison and say that you're innocent. But if you sign this thing, and I can't remember exactly what it's called, it's some type of deal.
Gag order, maybe?
No, it's God, what is it called?
I don't know.
But anyway, you basically say, yeah, I did it, but...
Oh, but I've served my time.
And the government's going to let me out.
Oh.
And it was so bad for the one kid, that they said was the ringleader. He was in solitary confinement for so long. If you ever see pictures of him or whatever, everybody's like, oh, he's so Hollywood. He always wears sunglasses. It's because he would get beat up and attacked so much in prison because they think that they killed these little kids that he was left in solitary confinement and hasn't seen sunlight for so long. Now that he's out, he has to wear sunglasses because it literally burns his eyes whenever he goes outside.
Damn.
But anyway, so like I said, they make this outline of whatever they're talking about on a Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. And then whenever they want to do their podcast, the 3 of them get together in their basement, kind of like this. And they sit around.
Oh, I forgot about that.
There's a bird up there.
Yeah, it's going to go off again in a half hour.
Okay, well, maybe we'll still be here.
Those details, you got to think about the details.
Yes. But anyway, so then they all sit around on the day to do the podcast, and they do their warm-up, which means they sit around and drink beer and do shots, and then they start doing the podcast. So then they take this whole situation that's like very heavy and like, hard to listen to, and they broadcast it as they're drinking and getting drunk, and they start ripping on each other and saying dumb stuff. And it kind of makes it, to some people it's disgusting because they do it, but for me, like, it makes what they're covering a little easier to swallow.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
the jokes.
It's still there, but there's still like a little bit of lightheartedness.
Yeah, the jokes soften the blow.
Yeah, it's not so detrimental in your mind. You're not just going, oh my God.
Right.
There's like other things happening. So I really enjoy their podcast. And they put one out every week. And then I think they do a Patreon every week. But they get into some really heavy stuff. They did the John Bonet case. They've done the West Memphis 3. Some of these things are 3-4 episodes long at an hour an episode. I think there was one that was 4 or 5, and I can't remember which one that was. It might have been Jonestown. But it's very informative, number one.
Right.
So like, if you're into that kind of thing, like, and it's really weird how many people are into like the serial killer thing.
Well, I think it's just a fascinating topic.
Well, I mean, I think it's just in everybody's like, wow, what would
because murder is murder. You get mad, you kill somebody. People can understand that. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying people can understand it. But the serial killer part, that's a broken brain that's just fascinating, like Dahmer.
But what's more interesting to me is what drove that person to be like that.
Yeah, like Dahmer was crazy. I mean, he was crazy as a kid.
Oh yeah.
So it's so strange how it manifests. I mean.
Right.
Not everybody has a pot of boiling penises on the back of their stove.
Well, right. Yeah.
That's a unique thing.
Well, he grew up around here.
Yeah, he did. He grew up just
in
south
Bath.
of here.
No, in
Bath. Yeah.
So I don't know if you knew this, but
see, Ohio does that to people.
I don't know if you knew this or anybody out there knew this. They actually found a hiker that was missing in his neighborhood in the woods from when he was a teenager.
Oh, yeah. I think that was his first victim, right?
Well, that's what they're thinking. Oh. I don't think he's ever denied or confirmed either way. Well, he can't do anything now.
Yeah, he can't do anything now.
Yeah. But I don't think even when he was still with us, he could confirmed or denied that. I can't remember. I would have to, there again, these are all things that I've listened to and heard, but you never retain every little.
Yeah.
So never take anything I say to heart. Because it might be skewed because my brain doesn't work.
I always have to do. See, I can't even think of the word. We have to apologize or
disclaimer. We have to
not disclaimers. The next day you have to recant or
the retraction or whatever.
Thank you. Yes. God damn, brain does not work.
So we should put that up before this goes. Disclaimer: these two
we are retarded.
Don't know everything that they're talking about.
We should change the name of the podcast.
Two Fat Guys?
No, that sounds like a restaurant.
Oh, that would be a good pizza shop. Two Fat Guys.
Don't get me started. You know how bad I want to start a pizza shop?
See, I think they make money, but I don't think I would want to put the time in for them. They're a lot of
It's a lot of time, but I think it's different when you work for yourself.
Yeah. See, but the difference is like your lifestyle and my lifestyle are a little different. Like weekends, I have things that I do.
I used to have things I could do, but then my job took them from me.
Well, I don't have things I can do. I have things I do.
Oh, okay.
But so that's why I think a pizza shop would be bad for someone like me, because my social life revolves around the things that happen in my social circles. And those are weekend things most of the time, especially on holiday weekends when things happen and like a party starts on Friday and ends on Monday.
Damn. Yeah, I don't know anybody like that.
Well, I mean, these people have large pieces of property. Everybody brings tents and RVs, and you just stay there. You know, you drink and socialize and have fun.
Like that.
You know people like that. You just don't know that you know people like that.
That's very possible.
Oh, that is not very possible. That is very true. You'd be surprised the people that you know.
I probably would, like in a bad way.
No, I don't think so. I mean, and that's the other thing. Like, again, we won't get into everything that I do, but it's not one of those things that people think it is. It really isn't. Like, I used to work at a place, and the one guy goes, "Oh, I'm going to have to come to one of these parties and da-da-da-da-da." And I'm like, look, man, it's not a friggin' free-for-all. Like, there's not, like, whatever happens. I mean, you still have to interact with people. People still have to like who you are to speak to you and hang out with you. You don't just be like, you and me are going to be together.
I have a pulse.
Yeah, it does not work like that. It's just not.
There still has to be chemistry.
Well, I mean, it doesn't even have to be like super great chemistry, but it has to be like to the point where, okay, I can tolerate this person. There has to be consent. Like, you can't just be like, okay, here's the chick, I'm taking her to dinner. No, she has to be like, yeah, I want to go to dinner.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't just like, I don't know. It's like the whole thing when I worked, like I say, I worked in the strip clubs for years and years and years and years, 21 years total, off and on. Not
Which club did you work at?
It's called Gatsby's.
Where's that at?
There's one in Canton South, and there's one in front of the Amazon in Akron. But when it went in, it was in front of the mall. The mall was still there. It just was closed in Akron, which was Rolling Acres, I believe. But yeah, so that's the other thing. Like, people go in there, and like, it's to the point now where most men get it. You can't just like touch the women and yada,
sure.
yada, yada. But when the girls come in there, they don't think that rule applies to them.
Oh yeah, women are always so damn entitled.
I just think that women think, oh, she's a girl, I'm a girl, it's okay, but it's really not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can get some bad, sticky situations because of that.
Now, how do you handle that?
A woman?
Yeah.
If she does something like that she's not supposed to do, you do exactly the same thing you do to a man. You walk up and
Just
say, look.
grab her?
No. You don't just grab somebody. You walk up and you are honest with them. You say, look, you know that I know that you can't do that, and you know that you can't do that. So you can either get up and walk out, or these three gorillas behind me will remove you. And 90% of the time, I would say, and maybe more than 90% of the time, especially where I worked, most people were like, well, I just got this drink. Can I finish it? And I'd be like, if you can finish it between here and that door, absolutely. And if he would get up and calmly walk out without causing issues or screaming and yelling and acting like an idiot, everything's cool. It's kosher, whatever. Because like I said, you know you can't do that. You got caught. It's time to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, I would say over 90% of the people are like, yeah, okay. And they would just go. I mean, you always have those few people that, want to start some garbage.
Shit.
But
yeah.
like I had one day, he was sitting there with his buddy and he did some shit. And I went up and I'm like, look, you can't grab that girl's ass. You can't. You got to go. And he looks at his buddy. He goes, what do you think of that? And the guy literally, his buddy looks at me and goes like this, I'm going to whip that dude's ass. And he points past me to my brother, who at the time was a starting heavyweight wrestler for Ohio State.
Nice.
I'm going to whip that dude's ass. Tony's like, I got this. I'm like, this will be fun. Guess what?
You didn't do it?
It did not work out well for him. But what are you going to do? I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, there's always the craziness that happens in that place. You see some wild, wild stuff.
I was going to say, plus the type of business that it was.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's just, like some of the stories I probably shouldn't tell because I don't want to get certain people in trouble. But I've just seen some craziness. Just wild, wild stuff. I seen a guy one time came in, and about 15 minutes later, me and Tony are standing by the door, and this chick comes in, and she's like, bam, and she like hits him in the chest with her ID, and she's like, he says, all right, have a nice time.
You used to be a man?
Okay, whatever. So she rolls over to the bar. She gets a drink. She goes over to right about the middle, and she's leaning against like this little outlay in the wall. Like it comes out, and there must have been like a structure or a beam or something. They went around there, and she's leaning. She's like, and she's just looking. And I turn to Tony and I go, she's looking for somebody. He's like, thanks, Captain Obvious. I was like, I just wanted to make sure that's whatever. Well, all of a sudden, she's looking and she's drinking and she goes, and I'm like, she found him. So she fucking goes like this. She puts her hand on it and she starts running. And we're like, so we start running, right?
Right.
So she's running towards the front corner. We're in the back corner by the door. So she gets there before we do. And she's running towards this table in the corner. And this girl's dancing for this guy or whatever. And she turns around. So now she's not facing me. She sees this chick coming. So the dancer's just like, whoops, exit stage right. You know what I mean? And this chick winds up with that glass and throws it and hits this dude right between the eyes. I don't mean in the forehead, not in the, I mean right, like she shot him with a freaking high-powered rifle with a scope. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, boom, and then she runs out the door. So I'm like, okay, I guess we don't get to throw her out. My brother's like, go outside, make sure she's not tearing up somebody's car. And I'm like, so I go running outside, and she's leaving there, and it's on Cleveland Avenue South, almost into Canton South, and she hits Cleveland Avenue probably 35 miles an hour. Car completely sliding sideways, tire smoke, Just cars, driving through the ditch trying to get away from her, and she's gone. And I'm like, okay, well, at least she didn't tear anything up. Start to go inside, and here comes the guy back out, right? And he's like, God damn it. And I'm like, what? He's like, bitch stole my car.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, so I pull my phone out. I had a flip phone at the time. And I'm like, need to call the cops? He's like, I am a cop. And I'm like, okay, you have a nice day. I'm going back inside.
Holy shit.
So that was a fun one. Had another guy come in asking everybody for weed. So the DJ's like, go talk to those guys at that table. It was a table full of cops that had just got out of the FOP meeting. And he went over and asked a table full of cops for weed.
That's awesome.
That was great. That was funny.
Did you hear about the one guy at work? I guess he was asking people at work if they wanted some weed.
Oh, was he the one that they walked out and then he came back?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a dab pen and he was asking people if they wanted to hit it or something.
A what? Oh, a dab pen. Yeah.
Yes.
What a dumbass.
Well, okay, first of all, the dumbassery that came from that is a result of what they did. Like, it used to be at break, people could go to their cars. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Now we're not allowed to do that because everybody got stupid and they wouldn't care or even try to be discreet about the fact that they were smoking weed. And they said, that's it. No more going to your car.
Right.
So now people have dab pens that they're smoking in the friggin' bathrooms. And they wonder how they get caught smoking weed at work.
I know. It's absolutely insane. Yeah.
And listen, and to be totally honest with you, I don't care if people smoke weed. I could give a shit less.
But not at work.
But yeah, especially with what we do. I mean, if people are driving equipment, there's heavy stuff that can fall over and smash.
Yeah, you got to be able to think quick, react quick.
You might have to move the hell out of the way, and if you're stoned, you might not be able to do that. Hopefully, people just know not to be that stoned.
Right.
I mean, you and I are that dumb, just being normal, so smoking weed would kill us. But, well, all right, welcome back. I don't know if you noticed, but...
Had a bit of an audio issue there.
The whole damn thing quit.
But that's all right. We got it working.
So, well, hey.
So, we were talking about smoking weed at work.
Well, us not smoking weed at work and other people that, yeah.
That's an interesting topic. You know why? Because so many people do it, and there's so many people who say that there's, like, health benefits and all that. I'm not going to argue any of that.
Yeah, because I believe there probably are. But...
My only argument is... smoking it at work. Like, why does people think that that's okay? Like this, here's an employer. First off, can't a company lose their insurance?
Absolutely. Like, I used to work at another very large company here, a steel mill, and they didn't lose their insurance, but there came a time, and I believe it was sometime in the 90s, I can't remember exactly, where they're like, that's it. You can't smoke nicotine, any cigarettes, or anything from fence to fence. And everybody's like, that's such bullshit. And I'm like, you don't understand. I said, they probably have got a huge discount from the insurance company because now they know, not that anybody listened, but they know that for at least 8 hours, 40 hours a week, you folks ain't chain smoking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not a smoker either way. I don't smoke weed or I don't smoke cigarettes. I'm not a smoker in general, but I mean, there has to be something as far as insurance-wise, if a company does that, where they can't smoke while they're at work, period, that has to be some type of benefit towards the insurance. I mean, the less you smoke, the more healthy you are. I mean,
Yeah.
Please don't have a million comments talking about how cigarettes don't hurt you, because...
What cigarette? No one in their right mind would say cigarettes don't hurt you.
Yeah, I just
weed on the other hand, they might bitch, but no. Even people who smoke nowadays knows damn well that the cigarettes are like awful.
Oh, they're horrible. Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, though, like you say, weed. I don't mind people that smoke weed. I don't mind people that feel like they need that to feel normal. But at the same time, you are people that shouldn't be driving a semi or large equipment. Something
that can get away from your really good race car, so to speak.
Yeah. Let's take what the guy from the other shift that got fired. He was drinking at work, and he just said, "Oh yeah, go ahead."
Oh yeah.
So like when we first thought that guy was drinking at work, and we complained, they were like, "Well, we don't think that he's drinking. We think he has mental issues." And I'm like, okay, not to sound like a dick, But isn't that just as bad as being drunk? If he's got mental issues, should he be operating a piece of equipment like that?
Yeah. That's a good point.
I mean, I'm not. Listen, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have a job, because I think everybody deserves to have a job and try to support themselves. But I just think if you have issues like that, you probably shouldn't be driving an industrial truck in a large warehouse with 400 freaking people. Because at some point,
you're going to hit someone.
Well, or you're going to get to the point where because he was always angry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you have those issues at some point, if he's got the mental issues on top of it, how long is it going to be before he gets angry enough to be like, screw it, I'm just going to hit this guy so he's not here to bother me anymore?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that would or would not happen, but that potential is definitely higher in someone who is not stable mentally, I would think. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I would assume. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, I do. It's actually quite. I'm phased out for a second there. It's common sense. You know,
right.
If you have anger issues and you have a weight, like you don't. If there's a chef that has anger issues, you keep them away from the butcher knives.
Well, right.
You know, it's the same thing. I mean, a fork truck, you don't even have to be angry. You just have to be like daydreaming.
I mean, it's like the military. You have to pass a psychological exam before they give you a weapon to shoot people.
Right.
Somehow I passed that.
I didn't. Anyways.
Well, I mean, hey, some of us get to kill and some of us get to, cook potatoes.
I don't know. It's a tough situation.
It is,
especially nowadays when there's so many people who can get work.
Right.
And these companies.
Right.
I have a big swollen problem with the way companies are run today. I think they're run in a mathematical formula.
Well, right. And I think a lot of things are going that way. The reason I think that you have that big issue with industry in general is the same reason that it's changing. Like I play poker, and that's changing as well. It used to be people play poker by instincts and feel. Well, now there is game theory.
Yeah.
So it's what are the probabilities of what this guy has compared to what I have, and it's all mathematical, and it's all, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the reason they do that because you're gambling, and that gives you the best odds to have the correct answer to figure out what's going on to win money. And I think industry is doing the exact same thing. I think they are playing with that same game theory as to if we do this, this, and this, statistically, we're going to make more money.
Right.
With less people in a better way. Just like I'm sure everybody knows someone who has worked somewhere for 20, 25 years. And then all of a sudden, we got to let you go. And they hire somebody off the street to do your job because they don't have to pay them what they pay you.
Not only that, but there's a flip side to that coin. The guy has worked for this company for 20 years, and now all of a sudden he can't take it anymore.
He has to start over. Well, that happens too.
No, I'm talking about the guys who quit.
Yeah.
Because I put 20 years in his company, but all of a sudden there's this new guy, and I can't do the job. You mean like me and Gojo? I simply couldn't do that kind of work.
Right.
It was killing me.
Right.
And I had a thought. The reason I said that, I had a thought, and that thought fucked off. So now I'm trying to remember why I said
what that thought was. See, now I worked at a place for a while where I switched from the same job to the same job, just at a different company.
Yeah.
And
I remember what it was. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Before you lose it again.
Okay. Which happens. That's why when you go on Instagram and you see all these videos and people talking, they're making videos talking about toxic workforce.
Yes.
And I can't think of the other one. There was another examples of people who you can't keep, and there's this huge turnover rate at every single company, and it's going across the world. And my point is that there used to be a time when you had X amount of work, you looked at a person, you said, you can do this amount of work, so we'll hire X amount of people, and the work will get done in X amount of time.
Right.
Now they're crunching, and they're using mathematical formulas, and what's happening is basically two things that I can say off the top of my head without doing a lot of research on this, or at least getting my thoughts in order. One guy or a handful of guys does the bulk of the work while everyone else complains and doesn't do. The second thing is they've mathematically made it such a formula procedure that you can't actually, like, it removes the human element. I'm having a bad day. I'm sick. I have a headache, and I can't perform my usual.
Right. You can't have a bad day.
I performed really good yesterday, and I'm sore today.
Right.
And
we have
they're making the working
at.
conditions so bad by trying to drain every drop, and it's all in the name of saving a buck.
Right, and it's not the buck that they're trying to save; it's the buck they want to make.
Yes, that's what I meant. They're trying to, we don't have to hire this extra 15 employees if we work the employees we have
to death
50 hours a week.
Right. See, but a guys like me, like I grew up working like that.
Yeah, well, me too.
So working 50 hours
but
a week
the older I get,
whatever, yeah.
When pain starts to happen, when inflammation, you're like, why all of a sudden is this becoming so difficult? And then you take a step back and you start looking at how these guys are college educated, and instead of just making decisions that help people and to make the procedure more efficient, they just use mathematical formulas, pie charts, and PowerPoint presentations, and they make decisions based on that, and that removes the human element. So they have this high turnover because people come in and say, "You're crazy."
Well, see, and the other thing to that is, like we were discussing this the other day at work, is you have these people that come in that are that guy and they think that way and they do that, but they're 24, 25, 26, and you have guys like us that are
old as dirt.
Older, I'm not even going to tell you how old I am because that's disgusting. In the comments, it's you people that are watching this on YouTube, in the comments, how old do you think I am? But anyway, no, you have the problem then. You have these younger people that think they know, that have never spent any time on the floor.
Yeah, or enough time.
Or enough.
Yeah, I worked 2 months. Dude, that's no.
Yeah, you haven't seen shit.
Yeah, I can do anything for 2 months. Right. I worked at Gojo for 2 years.
Well, like we're both trainers where we work. And I had a kid the other day that I was training, and I was like, okay, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, okay. And he's like, well, what if we do this? I said, if you do this, you get this many pallets on a trailer. If you do this, you get this many pallets on a trailer. If you do this, you get this many pallets on a trailer. If you say, screw it, no pallets, and use a slip seater, you get this many on there. He's like, how the hell do you know that? And I'm like, I've been doing this for 28 fucking years.
Over time, you remember the details because it's routine.
Right. And then, like, there's also the guys, like the one kid, you just kind of working with me the other day. He's like, I don't see how we're going to fit the rest of this in there. I'm like, it'll fit. Now you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
because he probably says the same shit to you.
Oh my gosh,
and I'm like, it'll fit
every day.
How's that going to fit? It's going to fit. How do you know? And
you know what I told him?
Because I can look at it and tell you it'll fit.
You know what I told him? I said, don't worry about it. Put the stuff on there best you can. When it doesn't fit, then you take a look at the trailer, and I guarantee you will see where the holes are. I said, you never know. If it gets it all on there, then you're good. If not, you can always fix it. But he just freaks out.
See, and then we're talking about two different people, because that guy, when I was working with him, I told him the exact same thing. I said, stack everything the best you can. And then when you get to a point where you're like, okay, this is what I got left, because you can look at the computer and it'll tell you how many pallets you got left. Mm-hmm. And once you're there for more than a couple of weeks, you know what you can put together and eliminate this and that or whatever. So you'll be like, okay, I got this on the floor. Everything's here. That's 12 pallets. I've got 14 spaces. I'm good. I don't have to start throwing you know what I mean?
Right.
The hard part of this truck is over.
Yes.
You know, I said, and if you do that and you make a mistake, guess what? You just learned something.
Right.
Don't be mad.
Right.
Stop jumping up and down.
Just fix it.
Like a cartoon cat.
Yeah, just get to work.
Right. And take your mistake and be like, okay, I effed up. This is what happened. This is where it went wrong. Fix it. Next time, I won't do that again.
I always tell people when I train them, this is what I say. I said, if you pick, and I always use the example of if the pallet falls over and shit goes all over the place.
Right.
I say the first thing you do is do not waste a second of your time getting emotional about it. Don't get mad.
Right.
Don't look at it and say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I should have known better. Don't waste a second of your time with those thoughts.
Right.
Your first thought should be, okay, how do I fix it? Do I pick up the pallet and move it and then build onto the pallet? Do I go pick this part up because it's leaking? That is what your mind should. Don't waste a second of your time thinking shoulda, woulda, coulda.
It's too late for
get
that.
to work and fix it. And before you know it, you've moved on.
Done.
The pallet's repaired or it's restacked. And I'm telling people, don't do that to yourself because
Right.
no one is perfect.
Absolutely
I drop
not.
shit, and I've been doing this forever.
Damn right. So do I. See, and then there was a kid from the other shift, and he's not a kid, he's an older guy. And Brian, the supervisor from the other shift, I was there one day, and he's like, hey, man, I got a new guy. Will you help me out and train him?
She said, fuck no.
And I'm thinking, what's wrong with your trainer? I'm like, yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah.
So I work with this kid, and he's fairly intelligent. And he's like, how do you do this so well? He's like, you're very good at this. And I'm like, well, I've been doing it a long time. I said, but I can tell you how I got good at this. And he's like, how was that? I said, well, I worked at a place. It was a place where I worked in the freezer, by the way. And I wasn't there very long. I was probably only there 6-8 months before I worked myself up to where I could work the dock instead of being in the freezer.
Right.
So I got to drive the different types of equipment, clampers, slip sheeters, all that kind of stuff. And before that, I think the next youngest guy, it took him 8-9 years to get to that point.
Yeah.
But because, like we were talking, the turnover of people, it's not like that anymore. So they all wouldn't help me show me anything.
Yeah.
Because they're mad because this guy that's been here for like a year is now doing what took them 8 years to get to, and, F that guy. So that pissed me off. So now I'm like, screw it. I'm going to learn this job and be just as good or better than they are. If they want to be a-holes, then they can be a-holes.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, dude. I, pardon my French, fucked shit up and figured out why.
Yeah.
And then I didn't do it anymore for a long, long time. And then it just got to the point where now, like, I'm faster than they are. I'm working better than they are. And it wasn't that I was faster than them. I was just more efficient because in that learning of how not to screw things up, you learn how to move things in 3 moves instead of 6.
Right. That's a big one.
So I got to the point where, like I said, I was faster. I was more efficient. I was getting things done, and we would load off paper. Like you would get a manifest, and when you found the pallet, circle it. Okay, all 20 of them are on there. Boom, turn the paperwork in. Boom.
Right.
Then they went computer.
Right.
So now all these older guys are losing their freaking minds because they can't figure it out. They can't figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And me at that time,
I got lucky. I had a gap because I went to work for that repo company.
Yeah.
So when I left, it was paper tickets. You would get a ticket. It would tell you the location and how many to grab from that location.
Yeah.
Right. And then you would build your pallet. And then, of course, the shipping dock, everything would be in the lane. So all they had to do was just put it in the truck. Then there was a gap. And then when I come back, there was all the computers.
Right. So when they went to computers, like, to me, it was a change, but it wasn't a bad change.
Right.
Because at that point, I'm still just getting over doing whatever the hell I had to do to learn this job, that I'm still have that mentality.
Yeah.
And that is the other thing that I try to teach these people whenever I'm training them, is your perception is what's going to make or break you in any job. Not just here, in any job.
In anything, really.
Right. Or life, yeah. So that's when I got good at stuff. And that's what I keep telling these guys. But anyway, this guy from the other shift, he's like, so what's the trick? And I'm like, I would focus on one particular thing until I got it. The rest of the stuff, if I wasn't good at these 5 things, but I'm going to focus on how to turn a pallet quickly to get it in the truck sideways if I have to, how to get it into the truck once it's turned sideways and get it in the position it needs to be without any extra movement, without bashing into stuff, without ripping the pallet apart. That's what I'm doing until I got it right. And then when I did, boom, now I'm going to move on to this next part. I'm going to learn this.
Yeah.
Said, so just focus on one particular thing every day until you get it. Because they were like, how the hell do you spin pallets like that inside the trailer? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do it.
Yeah, exactly. You go slow.
So, and that's kind of what I told that kid. And now, when I seen him when I was on overtime, it's been a few weeks, a month or whatever. He goes, when you taught me how to do this, you said, this is how everybody here loads trucks, but I'm going to teach you how to do it the right way.
Right.
Because everybody does that whole teeter-totter crap. And I told him, I said, look, I'm going to show you how to do this to where you don't have to worry about that.
Right. It's not even an issue.
Right. Why put yourself in the bear trap thinking it might close, it might not? Don't even do it. Don't even do it. Just do it this way. You don't have to worry about it.
I know. It blows me away that the other shifts do that because it's so much more complicated.
Well, they ride his ass about it. He's like, they ride my ass because I load like you do, that I don't do it right. And I said, well, what do you tell him? He goes, I just look at them and smile and go, how many of your trailers come back that have to get redone because they're overweight?
Yeah, exactly.
And they'll be like, oh, a couple. And he'd be like, I've never had one.
None of us have. I think I had one. It never left it was on our shift. No, I'm sorry. It was a whip.
Right, that they started. And
that they started, and I didn't realize all the weight was at the tongue.
Right. I don't get it. Doesn't make any.
That's so dumb. Talk about the one part of the trailer that can't take a ton of weight, and that's where they put it all.
Right. Well, because those guys from the other shifts that came and trained us from the other facilities, not shifts, they would teeter-totter everything. You put weight on the front, weight on the back, and then it teeter-totters it out, and your weight's good, which is fine. I'm not saying that doesn't work.
It just adds so much more stress.
It certainly does.
But it puts way too much weight on the front of the trailer, which makes the truck unstable on the road.
See, and then that's the other thing I tell them. I say, if you do it that way and it works, that's fine. But what if you get a two-stop truck?
Yeah.
Now when that truck goes and leaves stop one and it's only halfway full, all the weight's on the fifth wheel. If it's snowing, icy, fucked up, you're going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
That truck's going to be in the ditch or in the wrong side of the road.
That's a good question. I wonder how many people think of that. When you're loading a trailer, and this is any business or company, not just ours. When you're loading any truck, when you're on that forklift, I know we're talking about a specific job here, but we both have the same job, so you have to bear with us here. But how many people, as they're loading a trailer, think of that trailer on the road?
Right. Is it going to go down the road straight?
Yeah.
Is it going to be...
Or is that just the truck driver's problem?
Most people don't care. But, I don't know, if you've seen, there's videos that you can look up, if you're new to, even pulling a small trailer behind a car. They show you how to put stuff on there, weight distribution-wise, so it doesn't flap, it rides better, it doesn't bounce, it doesn't go back.
It falls back in line if something happens.
Exactly. And people don't think about that.
They don't care. Well, right. I think it splits. I think some people don't care. It's not my job.
Right.
Other people do. But it's one of those things. That's why I try to lump this stuff together. I get a process that works. And instead of constantly thinking about, this trailer on the road and if it's icy or if it's... I just do it. I've made a formula that kind of checks every box.
And that's what I do every
And
time.
I stick to that because that makes it easy. I know it's stacked right. I know it's stacked the way the company likes it.
Right.
It's stacked safely. And so I'm just going to do it this way every single time.
See, and that when we were talking to our supervisor the other day about issues, and I said, look, I get it. I'm not your fastest guy, but how many of my trailers are wrong that we have to fix? I said very, very, very few. I'm not perfect. I'm like anybody else.
Right.
I make mistakes. But when I'm done, typically, my trailer's right.
Right.
Everything fits, even if it's ridiculous. Like the one day he gave me that one trailer. He's like, here, can you get that in there? And I'm like, I can get it in there. I can't guarantee you that it's going to make weight on all the axles because it was 41,900 pounds. The whole truck, for anybody that don't know, a whole semi-truck can weigh 80,000 pounds completely. So many pounds on the front axle, so many pounds on the drive axles, and so many pounds on the back axle. It was 79,980 pounds total.
So a full truck.
So I had 20 pounds to play with on that trailer to make it fit, go down the road and be legal.
Yeah.
And I did it. I don't know how many people could do that.
Well, I wouldn't even focus on that. If the boss said, you get this on there, I would just think of the puzzle. I wouldn't think of the weight.
Well, but it's still got to go down the road.
Yeah.
And me, I can't just do it.
I'm not saying I'm doing it right. I'm just saying you're right. I would never think it. I wouldn't.
It was rough. It was a rough trailer. And then do you remember the one that I redid 8 times from the other shift because nobody told me that the first 7 pallets only weighed 6,000 pounds, and then the second store was 39,000.
No, I didn't know anything about it. I never know anything. Nobody tells me nothing.
Well, Dan's like, here's one that's overweight. You got to move some weight up. I'm like, okay. So I start moving weight up. And it goes back out across the scale, and it doesn't change but a little bit. I'm like, what the fuck? So I move the weight up even further, and it barely changes. I'm like, what the fuck? So I take the whole second store out, which would be the second stop, and I just left the front store in it, which was, I think, 7 pallets.
For those of you who don't know, we load trailers that are multiple stores.
Yes.
So the truck stops at one store, unloads some, and then stops at another location.
On the other side of town,
and
yes.
Sometimes it could go up to 3 different stores.
Yes. So anyway, I take everything out for the second store, first store, however you want to say it, the first store, second stop.
Right.
And I put everything that's completely as heavy as I can in, boom, 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 and it's still not making it. and Dan's losing his mind. And I said, look, I have to take every single piece out of here and redo the first store. He's like, no, you got to move weight up. I said, Dan, I can't move the weight any more forward. It's already all up against the other store.
Right.
And he didn't understand what I was saying. And he's, you know, Dan, when he gets upset, he's losing his mind. So I take the whole first store, second stop out again. And I said, look, all that right there? He's like, yeah, you have your stuff. Put it in up front. I said, I just took it out of all the way up front. He's like, what? And I'm like, I just took it out of all the way against that stuff. He's like, but it ain't making weight. I was like, exactly, Captain Obvious. That's why I said I got to fix what's in the trailer or it's never going to make weight.
Right.
So I had to take the 7 pallets they had, condense it down to 4 pallets, which was a big, huge pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And then I put that stuff in behind it, and it made it. It took me 7 times because nobody gave me the paperwork for the first store. I didn't realize the first store was 7 pallets and 6,000 pounds. So I kept moving weight up thinking, oh, it'll even out sooner or later. And it just never did because there was 0 weight on the front, just like you'll never get the driver's workout if you're empty on the back. So it was just basically a backwards half truck that I was trying to fix, and it did not go well.
So, you know, you say that, but I remember sending a couple out that, well, maybe it wasn't, you know, I mean, there was like
But it
maybe
wasn't loaded
8.
to the max, weight-wise.
Oh, okay.
That's where the problem was.
Okay.
The 2 stores combined
I forgot
were
about that.
40
That
something.
you said it was, like almost 80,000 pounds.
Yeah. But that just, and that
It almost
just
makes you wish they'd go back to trains. I bet you train don't give a shit.
there are weight limits for trains.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like when because it's on rails.
Yeah. But there are weight limits for trains. The difference between that is, depending on what type of train you're using, there are the ones that just pick the whole trailer up and set it on there, and then they have the cars that you load.
Yeah, and then there's one you actually load the cars.
Yes, the one you load the cars doesn't matter so much, but you could put a lot of weight in one of them.
Yeah.
But the problem with the other one is when that comes off the rail and it has to go from the rail yard to wherever it's going, it's on a trailer, it's got to be able to get there legally. So that doesn't really make a whole. The only thing that does is it saves.
I was thinking of train going from building to building, loading the actual cars. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, the problem you got there is rail spurs are very expensive.
Yeah, they are.
So that's a lot of money to build infrastructure. It would probably work better.
Isn't that crazy? Because that was the infrastructure for so long.
It really was.
And then we've just gotten away from it.
Well,
and now they're talking about electric cars. So the infrastructure that we've gave up on.
No, they have electric autonomous semis.
Yeah, I know, but they're people.
No driver, no fuel, just the truck that drives down the road by GPS.
Yeah, but they're having a fit about them because they're saying electric tractor trailers is a whole different ballgame because of the weight. The weight of the truck itself. Like, I guess our roads just aren't safe. Because, well, let me rephrase
They're not
that.
built correctly to handle it.
Right. Tar, especially in the hotter states, moves.
Absolutely.
So,
well, everything moves. Concrete.
But my point was that we had this infrastructure that was in place for 100 years. Then we moved away from it to the point where now that first infrastructure is fallen. It's just fallen away to the point where now we have to rebuild it. And now that we're looking at eliminating carbon and all that stuff, it's like the first one actually.
See, and the problem you have with that is I think that the rail infrastructure, like I said, it's so expensive to do that. And so many places were opening up to do things, it just wasn't feasible to build that
tracks that go everywhere.
That spurs, those spurs to get into every single business and every single.
I wonder
warehouse.
if it'd be worth it to use trucks to get products to a hub, and then a hub you could put it on a train and go cross country.
Well, you can, but then it has to be legal in that truck to get from where it's at to the hub.
Yeah.
So you're still going to have the same amount of weight in a trailer.
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, we're still loading trailers, but I'm thinking.
So, well, the problem
I've moved on to thinking.
Yeah. Well, what helps there is, like I said, the ones where you load the trailer and then they just pick the trailer up and they put it on the rail car. That helps if there's a place that gets 25, 30, 40 trailer loads of stuff a day.
Yeah.
And they use the same carrier. They'll just put a train together and send it. They're not going to send 40 trucks. They're just going to put 40 trailers on, like you say, at a hub on a train. Then they'll take 40 trailers to wherever it's at from that hub.
Does that happen?
Absolutely.
Oh, so my little idea is something that, no.
Yeah, the next time you're watching a train go by.
It kind of deflates the whole, I'm such a brilliant guy.
Yeah, well, the next time you watch a train go by, you can see, and you'll see the carrier name on the side of the trailers. I think JB Hunt's a big one. I think they do a lot for Amazon. but you'll see JB Hunt, JB Hunt, JB Hunt, JB Hunt. I don't even know if it's JB Hunt anymore. It might be different people because I think now JB Hunt does mostly Amazon stuff. But you'll see 30, 40 rail cars with just that particular name of that company on trailers on those things. And that's what that is. They're taking them all to a hub, and then those rails are going to go to, say Walmart. So they go on the hub to wherever the closest to that distribution center for Walmart is, and then one guy all day long, back and forth. Like, people don't understand where we work, too. Not all, but a lot of the trailers that we load are the same trailers. They leave. We load them. They leave. They go to the store.
Oh, and they come back, yeah.
They get unloaded, and then that trailer goes directly from that store empty to, say, Purina, and gets a bunch of dog food, comes right back, they unload it, comes right around the building, and we load it again.
I do know that, yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah. That's why I don't like receiving, because I don't like unloading containers.
Well, I don't like receiving because doing what we do, there's a few of them over there that will not clean out their trailers.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. You know what? I have a method for that. If I have a trailer that's filthy, I just set the skid down at the beginning
and snowplow
push
to the
it
front.
All the way to the front, and then your trailer's no longer dirty.
We're going to get fired for saying we do that.
I don't care. I have my limits.
We are both going to be homeless next week because of this podcast.
Yeah, probably. So, maybe we should start a Patreon for...
maybe we could. I don't know. We have to get some people and we can make some money. Like I say, the Patreon for most people they do like extra things. You know what I mean? They get an extra podcast a week or whatever, or they get like a live stream where they can actually talk to us.
You know what I'd love to do? Just random shit. Like I could show someone how to... I've been wanting to do this for a while. A lot of people don't know. I'm not changing subject. I'm just talking about the Patriots thing. A lot of people don't know how easy it is.
Patreon.
Patreon?
Patriots are a football team.
Okay, well, hey. I
and
never
they were
said
actually
it was
the people that started this country, if I remember correctly. The
Patriots, yeah. I've never said it was a genius. I always wanted to show people it's so easy to cook a Thanksgiving dinner. People think it's hard.
You could do that.
It's not. There is a way you can make a full-blown Thanksgiving dinner that is just easy as shit. There's just a few tricks. I'll tell you one right now. Turkey bags. When you buy a turkey, Reynolds makes a turkey bag. You put the bird in the bag, you seal it up, follow directions, and you don't have to baste it. You put it in the oven and you forget about it.
Right.
And it cooks in a quarter of the time. No, cooks maybe two-thirds of the time.
Yeah.
And then you're done.
That's why I deep fry my turkey, because it only takes 2-3 minutes a pound.
Yeah, I know.
But
the problem with deep frying is if you do it wrong, you burn down a neighborhood.
Well, but see, there's the okay.
Yes, there's responsibility.
You don't have to deep fry it. All right. Public service announcement: you do not have to deep fry your turkey in the house or your garage. You do it outside in the driveway, where if it spills over, it doesn't catch shit on fire. Rant over.
There you go. Well.
But anyway, moving on. We could do that. We should do that. We'll get your wife. We'll get my friend and some family. We'll be like, look, we're going to
make cooking videos. Just make random videos.
I'm down for some Thanksgiving dinner.
You haven't seen all of my YouTube pages.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I need to start a few myself because I'm tired of working.
I used to have one called the Midnight Guild, and what was special about it was just me and my friends doing stupid, just dumb
jackass shit.
Yeah, not jackass. We weren't hurting each other. We were just making like sketch comedy stuff. But what made us different from everyone else at that time, because we're talking 2006.
Okay.
What made us different was we didn't spend a dime. We didn't buy fancy equipment. I used Windows XP Movie Maker software. We just got together with a crappy camera that a buddy of mine bought to record himself doing skate videos. And we just did the dumb, and we had a fucking blast. It was so much fun. And then one of my friends he wasn't really much of a friend. He was just kind of a dick. I kind of left him behind. The other one, we had a falling out, and then I kind of switched the crew from me to some other of my friends. And we were doing it for a while. And then those friends, not to be rude, but they kind of went crazy.
Oh, yeah?
They kind of had like real issues and just kind of fell out with them. And now it's just me, and I don't like doing things by myself.
I'm with you. Like, I don't know. I'm like that too. Like,
so that channel's been dormant for a decade or more.
Listen, if you ever go through YouTube, there's some really weird things that people do on there.
Especially nowadays. Like I said, we're talking 2006 is when we were doing this.
Right. Well, it's like, I mean, the jerky I gave you there that you had that we was going to try, that guy started out with his friends when they were like older teenagers, and they were like, okay, we're going to do some fishing videos for YouTube, right? We're never going to be anybody. Let's just, and I don't know if people know this, the derogatory time at the time for a newbie that was a fisherman was a Googan.
The Googan.
So they called themselves the Googan Squad just to be funny. Listen, these guys are all worth huge money. Huge money. That guy right there, just for his side business for fun now, 50,000 bags of that jerky he's bought to sell.
Damn. And here I am trying to figure out how to make a dime.
This is a guy that's like, okay, I need to make some hunting and fishing videos. I'm going to dig my own pond on a piece of property that I own. And you know what? I'm going to learn how to do it. I'm going to buy an excavator. So he bought like a $250,000 excavator just to make friggin' YouTube videos.
It's crazy. I wish I had property, like real property. I have this property, but
So, all right, hey, do you want to go through the properties this guy's got from making YouTube videos? He started out just making fishing videos out of his apartment. And they do catch, clean, cooks, and then they would do like little vlogs or whatever. Well, then it started catching on. Well, then they were like, okay, we don't like this or that about the bait that we're using because they use like artificial baits.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, well, let's design something for ourselves and we'll just make it, just, whatever. Well, then that caught on. Now they have a bait line that's sold in Walmart.
Oh, you said bait line. I was thinking phone.
Yeah, bait, like as in,
Yeah.
like, sorry about that. Artificial baits. They make them. They have a manufacturer, and they're sold in Walmart stores. So they're like, okay, well, I like this particular brand of fishing rod, but I don't like this about it. I don't like that about it. All right, well, let's just start making our own fishing rods. Now they all make their own fishing rods. They're sold, Cabela's, Bass Pro, all that stuff. So just a rod, nothing else, no reel, no nothing, $100.
Damn. Is it worth it?
Absolutely.
Ah.
They make some of the best shit there is. So then they start making money. So now all of them have their own separate YouTube channels, and they're doing stuff. So this guy, his name's Flair, by the way. If you're into outdoor stuff, check him out. And it started out as fishing with Flair, and now it's just Flair. But he started out in his apartment doing catch, clean, cooks. Then his girlfriend would do fishing videos with him every once in a while, because it was like one of the things everybody, I want to see you with your girlfriend fishing, because it's just funny to watch a guy with his girlfriend fishing. So they would do that every once in a while. Then he's like, screw it, I got money now. I'm going to buy a house for me in Maisie. So he buys a piece of property. It's got a pond on it. I can't remember. It's probably in the 40, 50 acre range. I can't remember exactly, to be honest with you. It's been so long. So he's living there in the house, and he builds a shop. He adds onto the pond. He builds out on the back side of the property. He builds a cabin. He does all this on YouTube, right? So those are the videos he's making now. Then he's like, okay. And in between all this, he's buying farm animals, right? So he's got goats. He's got chickens. He's got a camel.
A camel. Sweet.
Yeah, he's got, I can't remember what the name of the cow is.
Does the camel make cigarettes?
No, he does not.
So funny.
He pees on his tail and flings it at you.
That's similar.
But anyway, then he's also got one of I can't remember what the name of the cow is that's got the hair that hangs in its eyes. He's got one of those.
That's a llama.
Well, he had llamas and he had an alpaca. So then he had all that property and he was doing all that stuff. And then it got to the point where, okay, I need a room to put my toys, because he also buys little toys to do videos on, like, motorbikes and different types of cars and trucks and whatever. So he built a shop. Well, then after he built the shop, he's like, okay, well, I need something else to do. So he starts looking around. He bought an abandoned nuclear missile silo.
Whoa. It was abandoned?
Yeah. Well, the military's not in there anymore.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't know they abandoned them. I thought they turned them
no.
into storage or something.
Nope. He just bought it. It was, he paid a little more than some people do because of the fact that they knew everything about it. It wasn't toxic, any of that kind of stuff, whatever. So there was 2 rooms in this place. He bought this place, and one was like a living quarters that some guy had bought for like a doomsday shelter. Then there's a room that's the same thing underneath it. And then if you go down to the next level, you walk out in this thing, and there's this big giant thing where the missile was with a 90-foot water. It was full of 90 feet of water.
Oh, shit.
And it was probably another 100 feet till you got to the surface. So then they would make videos of what's under the water. He bought a $5,000 underwater drone, driving it around. I mean, all kinds of crazy shit. But then the videos where we're fixing up the apartment in the nuclear missile silo. So then he's like, okay, I'm thinking about buying some more property. So he's looking at this place, and he buys an old exotic hunting ranch.
Okay.
So they would hunt bison and all kinds of stuff, and it was fenced. So he bought it. I don't know how many acres this is, but it's huge. So there's a cabin and then there's a nice shed there, or like garage kind of area. So he redid the cabin, all this stuff, and now he makes hunting videos there. He buys property to go duck hunting on. So he's doing all these things. Well, then he's like, okay, I don't like the house that I'm living in anymore. I need it to be closer to where my parents are and her parents are, because they got married and she was pregnant.
Right.
So they didn't want to live so far away from everybody. So he bought another piece of property to build a brand new house and a shed and that's what he's doing right now. So this guy has gone through probably $10 million worth of property in the 3-4 years I've watched him. And he'll just buy something, and then now he's building a pond in the backyard that's huge, a pond which it's got to be 8 acres, so it's a lake to me, but his pond, but it keeps leaking. So now he's going through and he's sold some property so he could get this pond built. He's selling off all of like the little toys that he used to make videos or whatever. He sold all that stuff off to get the money to seal this pond because it's leaking. Yeah, shut up, cuckoo.
Details.
But yeah, so and then now he has the line of beef jerky. He sells merch, like, you know, the hoodies and stuff I wear to work, them real thick thermal ones. He makes those, and actually he doesn't make them; he sells them. And the other guy I watch on YouTube, him and his wife and another couple own a place called Bunker Branding, and they make them there. I'm pretty sure that's where they get those made at. Wow. But that's Demolition Ranch. That's a whole nother guy. That guy's a lunatic, and he is so fun to watch. He started his channel by, oh, here's a shotgun. Let's see what we can put in one of the shotgun shells and see what happens when you shoot it. And he would fill it full of all kinds of craziness, and that's how he started his YouTube career. And now I think he's got 3 channels or 4 channels now. But he's pretty good too. I love all that weird. I don't know why I like weird people like that, but
those guys are fun to watch. I mean, look at Duck Dynasty.
Oh my
Those
God.
guys are retards. Boy, they just got huge.
Yeah. It's amazing what you can do when you come up with an idea that people like.
Yeah.
Even if you are completely off the charts crazy. So, don't give up hope. We could be rich. We could think of something. We could think of something, even though we're crazy, and become rich.
It's all up to you guys.
I have a few ideas.
Nobody wants to give me any feedback, but you guys got to start giving us some feedback so we know what to talk about and what not to talk about.
Speaking of which...
Or we're just going to keep talking about work.
No, speaking of which, if they want to support the channel, give them the link for the merch.
Oh, it's on the website. Just go to ohiogripe.com. This is the first.
Go.
This is the first one I didn't have it up there. I'll probably put it up there in post. But yeah, ohiogripe.com. Buy yourself a T-shirt. We got a bunch of T-shirts. Got mugs. Got tan bags. All kinds of stuff.
Why not? See, look at the equipment. We need new equipment. Look at how old my computer is. See, help us out. Buy some stuff.
I mean, these mics are old, but they sound great.
Why replace something like that actually still works? But okay, you can stop massaging. Stop massaging it.
I was playing with my microphone.
Stop it.
All right, peeps. I think we're out of time. Seeing as how we had to stop and fix some shit.
Yeah, I don't even know how long we've been going. I can't remember what.
Yeah, we had a break there, so fuck it.
Yeah.
If it's over, great. If it's not, we'll do better next week.
I was gonna say I think it was like 1:41 when we started. Now it's 3:12, but I'm with you. I don't know how long we were down for your audio mishap.
It's still better when we started. When me and Adam started, oh my gosh, just getting through an episode was like a major milestone.
Well, the new rule is Mark is not allowed to touch his computer while we're broadcasting.
All I did was, it's cables. All I did was I moved it and the cable disconnected.
All it
and
took
the computer went stupid. I mean, it's all the computer's fault.
2 inches you moved it and boom. And if you think 2 inches is a lot, ask your girlfriend.
Oh, burn. See you guys.